What happens when rest becomes optional? Rest used to be unavoidable. Night arrived, work stopped, bodies recover whether we plan for it or not. Today, rest is negotiable, and that quiet shift is changing how we age. For most of human history, stopping was enforced by circumstance. Darkness limited activity. Physical fatigue imposed boundaries. Communities moved in shared rhythms that created natural pauses. When effort ended, it ended collectively. There was no ambiguity about whether more was expected. The nervous system learned, again and again, that recovery was not a choice but a certainty. Modern life removed that certainty. Today, rest exists inside permission structures rather than physical limits. Work no longer ends when daylight fades. Communication does not stop when the body tires. Technology dissolved boundaries that once protected recovery, replacing inevitability with availability. Rest became something to decide rather than something that happens. Modern life treats rest as a reward, something earned after productivity, something optimized, scheduled, and often interrupted. But to understand why this matters for longevity, we need to examine what happens when rest stops being enforced and starts being optional. Researchers notice an unsettling pattern. People who technically rested enough still showed signs of chronic strain. Sleep duration looked normal. Vacations were taken. Time off existed on paper. Yet recovery markers stayed suppressed, as if rest never fully landed. The difference was not quantity. It was permission. Rest occurred, but vigilance remained. Mind stayed alert. Bodies anticipated interruption. The nervous system never fully powered down. Biologically, optional rest is incomplete rest. Repair pathways require certainty. They activate when the system believes effort has truly ended. When rest is conditional, biology remains on standby, conserving rather than restoring. This explains why burnout appeared even in lives that looked balanced. Rest existed, but it competed with expectation. Emails were checked reflexively. Tasks were mentally rehearsed. The body never received a clear signal of safety, only brief pauses in demand. The first warning sign was subtle. Rest stopped restoring energy. Sleep no longer felt renewing. Mornings arrived without the sense of repair having completed. Aging markers began drifting earlier, shaped not by obvious overwork, but by unfinished recovery. And once rest became optional, time quietly began charging interest. As researchers explored this shift, they found that enforced rest and optional rest were not biologically equivalent. Enforced rest ended effort. Optional rest merely paused it. In enforced rest, the body receives a clear message. There is nothing more to do, no decision to make, no performance expected. The nervous system powers down fully. Repair takes priority. Resources move away from vigilance and toward maintenance. Optional rest sends a different signal. Effort might resume at any moment. A message could arrive. A task could return. The body stays partially engaged, conserving energy rather than restoring it. Recovery becomes provisional instead of complete. This state proved damaging over time. Cortisol rhythms flattened instead of rising and falling distinctly. Deep sleep shortened, cutting off the phases most critical for cellular repair. Inflammation lingered just above baseline, never resolving fully. Aging accelerated quietly, without dramatic stress. What surprised researchers was how common this had become. Even during weekend, vacation, and evenings, people remained cognitively available. Devices collapsed boundaries. Work followed everywhere, and with it, expectation. Attempts to fix the problem focus on better rest habits, sleep routines, relaxation techniques, digital boundaries. These help temporarily, but often fail to create true disengagement. The body could sense the difference between rest that might be interrupted and rest that was final. The issue was not behavior alone. It was structure. As long as rest depended on personal choice, it competed with obligation. The body sensed that conflict and stayed alert, waiting to be needed again. This reframed longevity yet again. Rest is not effective when it must be defended. It works when it is unavoidable. And in a world where rest must be negotiated, the body rarely gets a chance to fully recover. The conflict becomes unavoidable when rest is treated as expendable. Productivity systems reward availability. Responsiveness becomes identity. Saying no feels risky. Disengaging feels like falling behind. People adapt by staying lightly engaged at all times, never fully working, never fully resting. The body absorbs this ambiguity as constant low-grade stress, a state that feels normal precisely because it never spikes. Researchers observe that individuals in this state rarely experience deep recovery. Even when activity stopped, physiological vigilance remained. Heart rate variability stayed low. Stress hormones declined only partially. Repair mechanisms waited for a safety signal that never arrived. This halfway state proved more damaging than acute overwork. Without clear effort or clear rest, biological cycles lost contrast. Repair mechanisms struggled to activate. Aging markers crept forward unnoticed year after year. Attempts to reclaim rest often clashed with social pressure. Being unreachable felt irresponsible. Disengaging felt selfish. Rest became something to justify rather than inhabit. The body learned that stopping required explanation, and explanation kept vigilance alive. The conflict was not personal failure. It was systemic design. Environments optimized for constant connection left no space for true shutdown. Those who age better often live in systems that enforce disconnection. Workplaces that closed completely. Communities with shared downtime. Rhythms that did not require negotiation. In those environments, rest was not defended. It was assumed. The lesson was uncomfortable. Longevity does not thrive where rest is optional. It thrives where rest is inevitable. And until modern life relearns how to make stopping unavoidable, the body will continue aging as if the work never ends. The climax of this story is the realization that optional rest is not real rest. When stopping is a choice, the body never fully believes it has stopped. Vigilance lingers. Repair waits. Rest works when it is final, when effort ends without negotiation, when the nervous system receives a clear signal that nothing more is expected. Only then does repair take priority over vigilance. The resolution is not about better self-control. It is about structural permission. Lives designed with true off-switches. Boundaries that do not rely on willpower. Rhythms that enforce pause rather than request it. Longevity is not extended by squeezing recovery into spare moments. It is preserved when rest is built into the system itself. When stopping does not require justification. Modern culture often treats rest as a weakness, but biology treats it as maintenance. Without it, systems were faster, even if output remains high. As life grows more connected, the cost of optional rest will only rise, because a body that never fully powers down ages as if the emergency never ended. Subscribe to join the journey.